There we go. Okay, so Vahan, could you introduce yourself and what you do?
Yep. So I'm Vahan. I'm the founder of Hiresonic.ai, where we help agencies and enterprises basically put their recruiting on autopilot. We automate two of the most time-consuming tasks a recruiter has, which is candidate screening and candidate sourcing. Yeah, that's who we are.
And you made it pretty obvious in that intro, but just to really reiterate, who do you go after? Like, what are the people you sell to?
Yeah, so primary agencies, mid to large kind of recruiting agencies, RPOs, staffing firms, like anyone who does like contract recruiting, right?
Yeah.
And the secondary, we go after enterprises, large corporations, Fortune 500, that sort of stuff.
Okay. And what did sales and lead gen look like for that before you started working with SalesCo?
Well, good question, because with Hiresonic, we haven't done anything without SalesCo. So, obviously, for context, when we started working with you guys, it was a different company. It was pre-pivot. It was called Cauldron. It was mainly a screening automation tool for startups. So yeah, we did a full pivot there in the middle. But yeah, so I can give context of Cauldron. Before that, we used to do prospecting manually. So we had a full-time salesperson who would gather leads through LinkedIn, Apollo, using various different services. Where sometimes we made our own scrapers to get contacts, and then we try out different messaging, different copy to see who we can get. It wasn't too successful. Our best week, just with our manual efforts, was 4 demos a week. And it happened like once or twice throughout the 8 or 7 months that we were doing that. So yeah,
Okay.
after we switched to you guys, we got to those results pretty quickly, and we went over that, like, now we're consistently getting many more kind of leads per week. We can
Yeah.
say that.
Well, thank you for that answer, because it went over a couple other questions I was going to ask. But back in those early days, what did the early days with us look like?
Yeah, so early days was, I mean, you were more hands-on, right? So we were kind of talking about, kind of brainstorming on copy, brainstorming on who we can, who's our customer, who's our persona, who should we go after, how do we find those people, how do we kind of scrape their contacts out, like even before SalesCo, right? We were working on kind of scraping out contacts of relevant people, automating all of that. So yeah, so it was like having someone on a team who
Yeah.
cares about like what we're doing and tries to help actively.
Glad to hear that. What does your work look like with us now? Has it changed much?
Though it's more, I don't know what word to use. Maybe
There's
it's
no wrong
more
answer.
yeah. No, I'm trying to like find the right word. It's more routine, right? Not in a bad way, in any way, right? So it's more like, yeah, so we know this is happening, we're happy with it, so we're not using other resources on sales, right? That's our main sales motion. That's been our kind of main and only sales motion with Hiresonic, to the point where we're actively trying to avoid like getting other leads in, because I mean, we have enough. But like, it's the best problem to have when it's like too many leads. Yeah, it's a great problem to have. Yeah. But yeah, obviously, things have changed in a way where you're not as involved. We have more people in your team kind of servicing us. We have, as far as I know, a dedicated person. It might as well have been an AI. Might as well have been AI all this, well, probably all this time, but I wouldn't know that. But
we use some AI.
Great.
Definitely use some AI.
You use some AI. I don't know if Elena is an AI or an actual person.
No, Elena's a real person. She's based in Macedonia, and she services. Actually, we have a few HR software companies, and she's like our main HR software person. She just understands.
Oh, nice. Yeah, nice. So we can bond with her on like Eastern European
Yes.
kind of
She's got she's got a decade of like lead gen experience. So she was
Nice.
like our first hire for that type of role.
Great.
So besides seeming less like AI or sending too many leads, any other suggestions or improvements you'd offer to us?
Well, I didn't mean seeming less like an AI as like a suggestion. I
Yeah,
didn't mean that in any bad way.
I'm just picking on you.
I just know how you guys, I just know how you guys can try to automate everything, which is something I like. Suggestions. I don't know. So I send suggestions when I have them right in the chat. I don't know how exposed you are to those, but
Yeah, that's it.
I sent a few notes about like the weekly updates you guys were doing. Like the information there wasn't particularly useful to me at first. Then I like specifically requested for some data to be available in some kind of like dashboard format. I think we could
Yeah.
create a couple of sheets where I still look. I still think one of those is broken and isn't getting updated correctly, but I still look at those to kind of see the negative responses. I always like looking at those just to kind of understand which part went wrong. Was it the lead gen? Was it like the copy that didn't hit right, or anything like that? Other than that, I think when we just started creating copy, there was somewhat of a downgrade to like the copy you built and then the copy we get now when we're just starting over. But that
Yeah.
doesn't happen a lot, and it usually gets like tweaked in a couple of edits. So yeah, and then obviously we don't change it like super much. You guys do it on the background, as I understand.
Yeah.
But I'm not exposed to that at all, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, if you'd like, we can certainly report it more often.
I don't know if I'm supposed to like check up on. I don't want to micromanage.
Yeah.
But I feel like I do have like usually when I feel like I have like useful input, I do give it to you guys. But maybe if I see the copy more often, I might have more input. That's like one other way of like, should there be a dashboard where I know the copy of every campaign and like how they're doing every week and stuff like that. So
yeah. And we do
yeah,
like that feedback because the feedback that you give is good, and we'd rather have somebody who's engaged because they can say on the back end, this is how leads are performing, and this is what sales cycles are coming out of those leads. So if we get leads and they don't turn into deals, we need to know that. If they do turn into deals, we find more like that, right?
Yep, absolutely. And I just gave some feedback that like I think our geography targeting is a bit off because suddenly like 1 week I get a lot of like Spanish speaking countries. Another week I get a couple of like a couple of Dubai ones in a row, which is like a weird coincidence where we didn't get any Dubai and then we get 2 in a row. I don't mind Dubai at all. I was thinking like we could probably set up something that just targets Dubai, but it's for me it would be better if like we had like, hey, this is the same campaign. 200 of those emails will target on Dubai, 200 will target on like US, and then so that obviously we can kind of manage primary, secondary markets a bit better.
Okay, thank you. To close it out, any other business that you think would be a fit for working with us? Like
Sure.
any other business?
I think I sent you 2 or 3 over the last couple of weeks, right?
It was a poorly phrased question. The question is, what types of businesses do you think are best suited for work with you?
Oh, well, who you guys target? Like, what do you want to work with?
Yeah, we think B2B SaaS and agencies. That seems to be the sweet spot.
So agencies is like a target for you. I remember I asked you like, do you guys work with agencies at all? So for me, this is something I want to discuss with you also because I've talked to a lot of agencies recently, and like for them, it's like a bad market right now. Their sales isn't performing as well as it used to, just because the market is slower than what they're expecting. Because there's been too many layoffs and like applications are doing good, which is like an in-house thing, and now suddenly like sourcing and which people use agencies for is falling down. So they need to kind of find better ways to sell.
Agreed.
So recruiting agencies specifically for you might be like a really good use case right now specifically. And then they're stuck with you, right? If like the market recovers, they're not going to get rid of you.
Yeah, we work with a couple, and I think that anything where we can take an agency who has like a job to be done, a very specific task. It makes it easy
Mhm.
for us to go out and find people who are showing some public signal that they have that, and then write something compelling, because it's like, hey, we see you're experiencing this acute pain. We solved that with our job to be done. But if you want to talk
Yep.
about anything specific, I can end the recording here so that we don't dox anybody with specific names or anything.
Sure.
All right, let me stop it.